I'm Robert, a hard-working single father who raised my son, Dexter, with all the love and care I could muster. Dexter was the center of my world, especially since his mother had abandoned us when he was just a toddler. I worked tirelessly, holding down 2 jobs just to keep our family afloat, providing everything Dexter needed. Times were tough, but I never once regretted the sacrifices I made for my son. Eventually my hard work paid off, and I received a significant promotion at one of my jobs. Financial stability became a reality, allowing me to quit my other job and even save up enough to purchase a house, a symbol of our success and a place we could call home. I felt indescribable amounts of joy for the ability I had to finally spoil my son, and spoil my son I did. Since it was always the 2 of us, Dexter and I shared a very special bond. Our bond was unbreakable, and I cherished every moment spent with my son. As the years went by, Dexter grew up to be just as successful as I had hoped. I even vividly remember the day Dexter got married, and my heart swelled with pride and joy as I witnessed his union. For a few years, life was pure bliss, and my bond with Dexter, my son, grew stronger every day. We were more than just father and son, we were best friends. We shared laughter, tears, and countless memorable moments. I loved him with all my heart, and I could see the same love reflected in his eyes. We supported each other through thick and thin, celebrating successes and comforting each other in times of hardship. Our relationship was a rock-solid foundation that gave us strength and made life feel complete. Dexter was my pride, my joy, and my reason for pushing through any challenges that came our way. Then, one day, Dexter approached me with some information he had discovered. "Dad, I found out something important and I wanted to talk to you about it." "Well, what is it? You seem worried." "Well, I came across some information that says if we transfer the house into my name, you'll be eligible for full coverage health insurance. I know it's a big decision, but I really think it's worth considering for your well-being." "Oh, I see. You're concerned about my health, aren't you? That's thoughtful of you." "Of course, Dad. You've always been there for me, and I want to make sure you're taken care of too. This way we can have peace of mind knowing that if anything happens to your health, you'll be covered." "Thank you, Dex. It means a lot to me that you're looking out for my best interests. Let me take some time to think it over, okay? It's a big decision to transfer the house, and I want to make sure I fully understand the implications." "Absolutely. Take your time. I just want you to know that I'll support whatever decision you make. Your well-being is what matters the most to me." "How about we revisit this topic in a few days once I've had a chance to gather more information and consider all the options? We'll make the decision that's best for both of us." "Sounds good, Dad. Remember, I'm here for you no matter what. Just let me know if you need any help or have any questions." "Thank you, son. Your support means a great deal to me. We'll discuss this further soon, I promise." Touched by his care, I researched the details and found out that the benefits would kick in after 5 years. Believing in my good health and overwhelmed by love for my son, I decided to transfer the house deeds to Dexter. In hindsight, I now realize this was all just a ploy to get me to give away my house to him. I presented it as a heartfelt gift on his birthday, and his gratitude knew no bounds. I felt a surge of happiness and contentment, thinking I had made the right choice. However, my joy quickly crumbled when Dexter's wife called me a few weeks later. She revealed that Dexter had been cheating on her for the past year with a 25-year-old woman. Disgust and disappointment washed over me like a tidal wave. In a fit of rage, I called Dexter, hoping for some form of regret and an explanation. "Hi, Dex, we need to talk." "Sure, Dad, what's up?" "Well, your wife called me and she told me something that deeply troubles me. Is it true that you've been cheating on her?" "Look, Dad, it's my personal life. I don't see why it's any of your business. Yes, I've been seeing someone else, but that's between me and my wife." "I can't believe what I'm hearing. Cheating is a betrayal of trust, not just to your wife, but to the values and morals I raised you with. I'm disappointed in your actions." "Well, I didn't come here to discuss my personal life or disappoint you. Also, since I've taken ownership of the house, I expect you to move out within a month. It would be weird for me and my mistress to live with you." "You can't be serious! I transferred the house to your name with the belief that you cared about my well-being. Now you're kicking me out without any consideration or remorse?" "Look, Dad, this is how it is. The house is mine now, and I have my own life to live. Find somewhere else to live. I don't have time for this right now." "I can't believe this is happening. I raised you with love and sacrificed so much for your future. I expected better from you, Dex. Is this how little our relationship means to you?" "Relationships change, and right now, this is what's best for me. I suggest you start packing and figure out your living arrangements." "I can't believe this is how you treat your family. I never imagined you'd become so heartless." "Fine, I'll find a new place, but remember, blood ties can't be severed, and trust once broken is not easily repaired. Save the melodrama, Dad. It's just a house. You'll find somewhere else to live, I'm sure. Goodbye. I had no control over the house, and with a heavy heart, I had no choice but to leave. My heart shattered into a million pieces as I packed my belongings and left the house I had worked so hard for. The pain of betrayal ran deep, and I couldn't fathom how my own flesh and blood could kick me out without remorse. It was a blow that struck at the core of my being. The knowledge that Dexter had married his mistress only intensified the agony. It made me question my abilities as a father. Did I not raise him well enough? Did I fail to instill in him the values of loyalty and respect? Doubts crept into my mind, fueling my anguish. Seeing Dexter move on so easily, building a life with the very person he had cheated on his wife with, was a dagger to my heart. It felt like the years I spent nurturing him, sacrificing for him, and loving him unconditionally were all in vain. I couldn't help but wonder where I had gone wrong. The pain of being discarded, replaced, and forgotten by my own son was almost unbearable. I struggled to make sense of the situation, grappling with a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and a profound sense of loss. The wounds inflicted by Dexter's betrayal continued to fester, leaving me emotionally scarred. Cutting off all contact with him was an act of self-preservation. I needed distance to heal, to find some semblance of peace amidst the chaos. In the years that followed, I fought to rebuild myself, to find solace in the knowledge that I deserved better. The pain of Dexter's betrayal never truly disappeared, but with time I learnt to carry it with grace and dignity, using it as a reminder of the resilience within me. 4 years passed, and just as I began to heal from the pain, the mistress, Jenna, showed up at my door. She introduced herself as Dexter's soon-to-be ex-wife. That made me raise an eyebrow. She told me she would love to explain it further to me and asked if she could come in. I was a little apprehensive at first, but my curiosity was bugging me. I wanted to know what she meant by ex-wife. I invited her in and grabbed her a glass of water. We settled down on separate armchairs, and I asked her to explain what she meant. While doing a deep clean of the house, I stumbled upon a photo album from Dexter's previous marriage. When I confronted him about it, he admitted that he was married when we started dating. I was shocked. How could he deceive me like that? He didn't tell you? Wow, I thought you knew. I can assure you I had no idea. Well, I'm sorry that he deceived you like that. Well, naturally, I needed some space to process everything, but Dexter begged me not to leave him. He even confessed that he deceived his father just to be with me. That was the final straw. I couldn't stay with someone who would not only defraud his own family, but also continue to deceive those he claimed to love. I understand your anger, Jenna. I completely share your sentiment, but what exactly does this have to do with me? Why did you come here? I want to seek revenge, not just for myself, but for you too. We both deserve justice and the chance to regain our dignity. Together we can make him face the consequences of his actions. I appreciate your concern and offer to help, but revenge? Is that really the answer? I don't know if it's the right answer, but it's an answer. Dexter needs to learn the consequences of his actions, especially his hurtful actions. You're right, Jenna. I appreciate your determination and willingness to support me. Let's make him realize the magnitude of his wrongdoings and ensure that he doesn't continue to hurt others. I'm glad you're on board. Together, we'll show Dexter that he can't manipulate and deceive the people who love him without consequences. With her expertise as a real estate agent, she unveiled a plan to target Dexter's vulnerabilities. She revealed that the transfer of the house while I was still alive had led Dexter to pay higher property taxes, nearly depleting his funds. They relied solely on Jenna's earnings to survive. Furthermore, since they hadn't signed a prenup, half of the house's value was entitled to her as marital property. Jenna had already served Dexter the divorce papers, and he quickly realized he needed her support to stay afloat. In desperation, Dexter offered to sell his share of the house to Jenna. This is where I entered the picture. I have a proposition for you. What if I sell you the house back at the same rate I bought it from Dexter? What? Jenna, are you sure? Absolutely. But why would you do that, selling it back to me for a fraction of its original price? I'm truly sorry for being the reason you were kicked out of your own home. I want you to have back the house that you've worked so hard for. Roberts, it's the least I can do to make amends for the pain and suffering you endured. I don't know what to say. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. I cannot even begin to express in words. You really don't have to do this, but I appreciate your kindness and consideration. You deserve to have your home back. It's important to me that you regain what was rightfully yours. You've been through so much, and I want you to heal and find some sense of justice. Thank you, Jenna. Really. Your gesture means more to me than words can express. I accept your offer with deep gratitude. We'll work together to make things right again. With our alliance forged, Jenna and I delved deeper into our plan for revenge against Dexter. She took charge of collecting evidence, meticulously gathering proof of his infidelity. Once Jenna had a solid case against Dexter, she took matters in her own hands and sent the evidence to his bosses. Their workplace had strict rules regarding ethical behavior, and infidelity was a breach of trust that they couldn't overlook. The consequences were swift and severe. Dexter was terminated from his job. The satisfaction I felt was bittersweet. While revenge may not have been the ideal path to healing, seeing Dexter face the repercussions of his actions brought a small measure of justice. It served as a reminder that one cannot escape the consequences of their choices, no matter how powerful or untouchable they may feel. Jenna's strategic move had not only stripped Dexter of his employment, but also left him in a vulnerable state. Now, Dexter found himself homeless and jobless. The consequences of his actions came crashing down upon him. In his desperation, Dexter reached out to me, seeking refuge. He recounted his miseries, hoping I would offer assistance. "Dad, I'm in a tough spot. I'm staying with a friend right now, but I can't stay here for much longer. I don't have anywhere else to go. Could you help me by letting me stay at your place?" "I know things are hard for you right now, but it's not easy for me to welcome you back so soon after what happened. I just bought the house back from Jenna, and your betrayal still hurts." "You bought the house back? Why would you do that?" "Because she recognized the importance of this house and the hard work I poured into buying it the first time better than my son did." "Well, you're being unfair. It's where I grew up and I feel like I should have the right to be there." "I get that it's meaningful to you, but trust was broken. It's going to take time for me to heal from what you did. I can't just forget the pain and invite you back without considering my own feelings." "It's not fair. I need a place to stay and I thought you would be there for me, especially since you're my father." "I'm not completely abandoning you. I have a compromise. You can come back, but you'll have to pay rent and stay for a limited time. That's the best I can do right now, given the situation." "Fine, if that's my only option, but I didn't think you would actually treat me like this." "Glad you understand what I felt." Throughout Dexter's 4-month stay in the house I had once called home, I remained detached and aloof, intentionally keeping my distance. Gone were the days of warm conversations and shared laughter. It was a deliberate choice on my part, a reflection of the deep disappointment and hurt that Dexter had inflicted upon me. When Dexter finally mustered the courage to question my changed demeanor, I didn't hold back. "Dad, why are you treating me differently? What happened between us?" "You can't honestly ask me that question, Dex. With everything that you did, I can't be close to someone who betrayed their partner, not once, but twice, and you used and betrayed me in the process too. It hurt me deeply and it shook me to my core." "But Dad, I made some stupid mistakes. Can you forgive me? You got your house back. I'm back. Everything's fine." "Mistakes? These were more than just mistakes. I made so many sacrifices for you, working tirelessly to give you a better life. Yet you chose to ignore my struggles and betray the values I taught you. Things aren't fine, Dex. If I recall correctly, relationships change, right? You told me that when you kicked me out of the house I gave you so much love. And you're right, relationships change. This is a change you have to deal with." "I never meant to hurt you, Dad. I'm sorry for what I've done." "Sorry isn't enough. You turned your back on me, ignoring the loyalty and respect I hold dear. It's not easy for me to forgive or forget." "I understand, Dad. I hope you know that I genuinely regret my actions." "It'll take time. Time to rebuild trust and heal the wounds. I hope you understand that." The disappointment hung heavy in the air as I spoke, my voice laced with a mixture of hurt and frustration. I made it clear that I couldn't continue to support or embrace someone who had shown such disregard for the love and care I had poured into him. The wounds were still fresh, and forgiveness seemed like a distant possibility. With a heavy heart, I watched as Dexter absorbed my words, the weight of his actions sinking in. The pain in his eyes mirrored my own, but it was a pain that he had brought upon himself. At that moment, I realized that sometimes tough love is necessary to uphold one's own principles and protect oneself from further harm. Our encounter marked a turning point in our relationship, a painful but necessary step towards healing. I couldn't hope but hope that Dexter would learn from his mistakes and that he would come to understand the depth of the hurt he had caused. Only time would tell if redemption was within his grasp, but for now, I needed to focus on my own healing and finding a way to move forward without the burden of betrayal weighing me down. And so the story comes to its fitting end. Dexter, once a prince in his own kingdom, found himself stripped of everything he held dear. He lost his wife, or should I say wives, his house and his family. Dexter lived out his 4-month tenure in my house, facing the consequences of his actions and the weight of his betrayal. As he departed, I made it clear that I had no intention of rekindling the father-son relationship we once had. Dexter, now aware of the irreparable damage he had caused, was left to rebuild his life, facing the consequences of his choices. Life has a funny way of teaching us lessons we never asked for. Through this arduous journey, I realized that redemption could be found even in the face of betrayal. Jenna and I were able to restore justice to our lives and reclaim our dignity. While Dexter may have learnt the hard way, I hope he finds the opportunity to reflect on his choices and grow as a person.